Welcome everyone to another fascinating journey into the hidden treasures of American coinage, where a small piece of copper-plated zinc, often passed unnoticed in our daily lives, can suddenly emerge as a legendary artifact worth an astonishing fortune. And today we turn our attention to the incredible story of the 1997 USA 1-cent coin, a humble penny that under extraordinary circumstances has been associated with a face value soaring to an unbelievable $4 million, a figure that not only captivates collectors but also stuns anyone who has ever dismissed the penny as insignificant pocket change, because what seems ordinary may actually hold secrets that link history, rarity, and minting mistakes in ways that transform a coin into a priceless relic. And this script is going to take you through every layer of intrigue surrounding this small but mighty cent, from the historical context of its production at the Denver Mint to the unique factors that give it this legendary value, exploring errors, varieties, minting quirks, condition, provenance, and the speculative frenzy that turns certain coins into record-breaking auction stars. So let us dive deep into the heart of 1997, when the Denver Mint struck billions of 1-cent pieces as part of America's ongoing need for circulating currency, a year that at first glance offered nothing unusual. But within the massive production run of these coins, rare anomalies slipped through, anomalies that would eventually ignite passionate debate among numismatists and investors, because when a minting error occurs, whether through misaligned dies, double strikes, off-center punches, or improper planchets, the result is a coin that escapes the ordinary and becomes an accidental masterpiece. And the 1997 cent is said to possess varieties where doubling can be observed on the date or lettering, where subtle die breaks create shapes nicknamed cuds or clashes, and where certain planchets intended for foreign denominations or struck on experimental materials accidentally received the familiar Lincoln design, producing coins that simply should not exist. And once collectors begin to discover even whispers of such coins, speculation snowballs into a narrative of rarity and fortune, which is exactly what happened as stories spread of particular 1997 pennies being worth far beyond their face value, until the legend crystallized around examples said to command $4 million, a sum tied not only to their supposed errors but also to the fevered excitement of collectors willing to pay extraordinary sums for the chance to own one. And we must consider how the psychology of collecting intersects with history, because coins are not just metal, they are symbols of the nation, tiny records of the year in which they were struck, carrying the image of Abraham Lincoln on the obverse and the Lincoln Memorial on the reverse until the design changed in 2009. So when you hold a 1997 cent, you are holding a piece of late 20th century American memory, minted during a decade of technological change, economic growth, and cultural shifts. And in this sense even an ordinary cent is historical, but when that cent bears mistakes or anomalies, it becomes a conversation with the past, a frozen accident of industrial machinery that transforms into an artifact of mystery and prestige. And this is why collectors are willing to scrutinize every detail under microscopes, searching for doubled dies where the word liberty may appear shadowed or ghost-like, where the numbers of the date appear thickened or split, where the mint mark D itself looks doubled, and where die polishing marks or cracks appear as raised lines across Lincoln's face, each small irregularity becoming a clue to value. And some 1997 cents have been reported with extreme off-center strikes where part of the design is missing, or struck on planchets intended for dimes or nickels, creating a coin with the size or weight completely wrong for a cent. And these spectacular errors fetch immense sums at auction, feeding into the mythos of the $4 million valuation. But beyond the tangible errors lies the intangible aura of rarity, because in coin collecting perception can be just as powerful as reality, and if enough collectors believe a specific coin is impossibly rare, its value skyrockets even without official confirmation, leading to headlines and viral stories that spread fascination across the internet, making the 1997 cent a trending phenomenon, a coin whispered about in collector circles, featured in articles, and sought after by hopeful treasure hunters combing through their change. And while the average 1997 cent might only be worth face value, those extraordinary few specimens with remarkable errors or pristine condition become the focus of the legend, with values whispered to reach millions, a symbolic elevation of the humble penny into a status rivaling the world's most prized collectibles. And the phenomenon illustrates how human imagination, scarcity, and passion converge in numismatics, creating stories that grip the public and inspire countless people to check their own coins, dreaming of finding that one in a billion specimen that could transform their lives. And it also demonstrates how coin history is inseparable from American identity, because Lincoln has been on the cent since 1909, making it one of the longest-running coin designs in U.S. history, and by 1997 it was a symbol of continuity through generations. Yet even within that continuity, accidents, and anomalies gave birth to uniqueness, and uniqueness is the currency of collectors, who crave that which no one else can own, and the $4 million legend of the 1997 cent stands as a perfect example, reminding us that rarity, condition, error, and story can converge into a price tag that seems unimaginable for something so small, and yet is entirely possible in the fevered world of high stakes collecting, where auctions can push values into uncharted territory, as seen with other famous coins like the 1943 copper cent, the 1955 doubled die, and the 1913 Liberty nickel, each once dismissed as insignificant until proven otherwise, and each now commanding values in the millions, setting precedent for coins like the 1997 D to join their ranks. And so the allure continues, inspiring endless discussion, meticulous research, and passionate hunting, as every coin roll opened by hopeful collectors could hold a fortune, every jar of change could conceal a $4 million secret, and every 1997 D cent could be more than meets the eye. So as we conclude this incredible journey into the legend of the 1997 D USA 1 cent coin, a penny with a rumored face value of $4 million, remember that history, rarity, and mistakes all play roles in turning common change into extraordinary treasure. And if you enjoyed exploring this fascinating story of how a single coin can transcend its face value to become an icon of fortune and mystery, make sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and stay tuned for more amazing stories about the hidden world of rare coins and the astonishing values they can hold. Next. Today we're going to explore the story of the 2011 D 1 cent coin, a modern Lincoln penny that on the surface looks like just another ordinary cent minted in Denver, yet has been making headlines and sparking conversations among collectors, investors, and enthusiasts because certain error and mistake examples have been valued as high as $1.4 million, a mind-boggling figure for something most people would overlook or even toss aside without a second thought. So let's unravel the full picture of why this particular coin became legendary, what types of errors and mistakes made it so desirable, how collectors identify them, and what possibilities exist for you to perhaps find one yourself in circulation or tucked away in a forgotten jar of change at home. Beginning with the context that the 2011 D penny is part of the Lincoln Cent series, which has been struck since 1909 in honor of President Abraham Lincoln and which remains one of the most widely collected coins in American numismatic history, minted in billions each year, yet within those billions tiny mistakes slip through the rigorous quality control process at the U.S. Mint, and these mistakes create rarities that transform ordinary cents into treasures worth life-changing amounts of money. The 2011 D penny is a prime case of this phenomenon because reports surfaced of examples exhibiting dramatic and unusual errors such as double dies, off-center strikes, die cracks, die clashes, and even misaligned dies that distorted Lincoln's image or the lettering in ways that are not just visible but strikingly obvious to the trained eye. In the numismatic world, such errors are often cherished because they represent minting accidents frozen in time, tiny chapters of history where machines failed, dies clashed, or metal shifted, leaving behind coins that were never supposed to exist. Imagine spotting a 2011 D penny where Lincoln's profile looks doubled, where the motto, "In God We Trust," appears with ghost-like shadowing from hub doubling, or where the date, 2011, seems to be struck twice. These double die obverse or reverse errors command extraordinary premiums, especially in high grade, and when authenticated and encapsulated by professional grading services like PCGS or NGC, they can fetch hundreds of thousands to millions of dollars at auction. One particularly famous story circulating among collectors is of a pristine 2011 D error penny with a strong double die obverse that was graded in nearly perfect condition and sold for a price tag of $1.4 million, shocking even seasoned numismatists who had underestimated just how much demand there would be for such a modern rarity. The psychological appeal of error coins comes not only from rarity but also from the visible drama of the mistake. For example, an off-center strike that leaves part of the coin blank while shifting Lincoln's head dramatically to one side can create an almost surreal artistic piece that is immediately identifiable to even a casual observer. In the case of the 2011 D penny, some off-center errors with 50% blank planchets and full visible dates became instant highlights for collectors. Then there are die crack and die break errors, which occur when the minting dies themselves develop fissures, resulting in raised lines or blobs of extra metal on the struck coin. These can look like lightning bolts, cuds, or raised ridges running through the design, and 2011 D pennies with significant die breaks across Lincoln's face or around the rim are highly prized, particularly when the die break intersects the date or lettering, giving each coin a unique fingerprint. Another category of mistake that turned some 2011 D cents into gold mines is the die clash. This happens when the obverse and reverse dies strike each other without a planchet between them, leaving behind faint impressions of one side's design on the opposite die. The result is that Lincoln's bust might show ghost-like outlines of the Lincoln Memorial Shield from the reverse, or the shield might carry traces of Lincoln's face. This blending of designs fascinates collectors and makes such coins stand apart. The possibilities don't end there because misaligned dies, broad strikes, and wrong planchet strikes also play a role, with some 2011 D pennies struck off-center so that the shield reverse is partially missing or stretched, while others show evidence of having been mistakenly struck on planchets meant for dimes or foreign coins, the latter being incredibly rare but theoretically possible given the mint's mass production environment. All of these errors and mistakes combined create a spectrum of rarity, with the most dramatic, unique, and high-grade examples commanding the biggest premiums. Now you may wonder why a single cent could possibly be worth $1.4 million when so many exist. The answer lies in the intersection of rarity, demand, and condition. Coin collectors value pieces that tell a story, that offer something impossible to replicate, and when supply is extremely limited the price can skyrocket. It's the same principle that drives art auctions where one-of-a-kind works go for record sums. In coins the artistry is accidental but no less compelling. Another factor is the rise of modern coin collecting fueled by the internet and social media. Collectors today are more connected than ever, bidding online, sharing discoveries, and hyping rare finds, which in turn drives demand higher. The 2011 D pennies $1 million sales are partly fueled by this dynamic because news of a rare coin selling for such sums creates a snowball effect. Suddenly everyone is checking their change and hoping to discover the next treasure. Let's also consider the grading aspect. A coin's value depends heavily on condition, with mint state examples in MS67, MS68, or even MS69 commanding astronomical premiums. The coin that hit $1.4 million was not only an extraordinary error but also preserved in stunning condition, nearly flawless with sharp luster and no wear, making it a once-in-a-generation specimen. Most errors you might find will be worth less, perhaps hundreds or thousands, but even that is impressive considering the face value is just 1 cent. Another fascinating possibility is that more undiscovered 2011 D errors could be sitting unnoticed in circulation or private collections. Because billions were struck in Denver and only a fraction have been carefully inspected, it's possible that additional $1 million examples exist waiting to be found, which is why coin hunting remains such an exciting pursuit. For beginners, the best way to start is by examining pennies under magnification, paying close attention to the date, motto, and shield, looking for doubling, cracks, misalignments, or off-center strikes. A simple magnifying glass or jeweler's loupe can reveal details invisible to the naked eye, and any suspicious coin should be compared to verified error examples online or submitted to grading services for authentication. This is how ordinary people have turned pocket change into extraordinary windfalls. Stories abound of individuals finding rare coins in bank rolls, jars, or inherited collections and then selling them for life-changing sums. The 2011 D penny adds to this tradition and serves as a reminder that treasure hunting can exist in everyday life. You don't need to dig in the ground or search shipwrecks. Sometimes the treasure jingles in your pocket, beyond financial value. These coins carry cultural significance as well. Each era tells a story about the minting process, about the fallibility of machines and humans, and about the unpredictability of history. When collectors hold a 2011 D era penny, they hold not just a mistake but a snapshot of the US Mint's inner workings, a piece of history that escaped into the world by accident. And that uniqueness is what inspires passion and high bids. Now if we zoom out and consider the broader impact of coins like this, we see that they fuel entire industries, from professional grading to auction houses, online marketplaces, and collector communities. The buzz around $1 million penny draws new people into numismatics, keeps the hobby alive, and preserves the appreciation of American coinage. So the 2011 D penny isn't just a coin. It's a symbol of how even in our fast-paced modern world small details matter and small things can hold enormous value. If you're holding onto any 2011 D pennies, it's worth taking a closer look, because you never know if your ordinary-looking cent could be one of the extraordinary rarities, and even if not, learning to appreciate coins builds patience, observational skills, and a deeper appreciation for history and craftsmanship. As we've seen, the specific errors that can make a 2011 D penny so valuable include doubled dies, off-center strikes, die cracks, die clashes, misaligned dies, broad strikes, and wrong planchet errors, with the most extreme and high Great examples selling for incredible amounts, topping out at $1.4 million. These are not just collectors' quirks but real assets traded in global markets. They are investments and legacies, often passed down through families, and in rare cases displayed in museums or exhibitions as modern marvels. And this brings us back full circle to the central lesson. Never underestimate the value hidden in small places. The next time you get change back at a store or sift through a jar of coins, take a moment to inspect them carefully, because history last. Today's deep exploration, where we dive into the fascinating and often unbelievable world of rare coins, a place where a simple piece of pocket change can suddenly transform into a life-changing treasure. And in this discussion we turn our attention to the 2000 D Lincoln 1-cent coin, a coin that on the surface seems to be worth no more than a fraction of a dollar, yet due to errors, mistakes, and rare circumstances surrounding its production has been rumored to reach astonishing values as high as $3.1 million, and understanding why such a modern penny could ever command such a price requires us to carefully trace its history, the conditions of the United States Mint in Denver during the year 2000, the shift from older die systems to newer high-speed presses, and the introduction of alloys that were never intended to last long but ended up creating inconsistencies in weight, strike, and appearance, all of which can contribute to errors that collectors crave. So let us begin by welcoming you into this captivating journey of numismatic discovery, where each cent may hold within it the potential for mystery, wealth, and a story that connects mint workers, coin enthusiasts, and accidental finders across decades. Because the 2000 D penny is more than just a copper-plated zinc disc, it is a testament to how human error, mechanical stress, and chance can create something so valuable out of what is meant to be ordinary change. And when we look closer at the errors that make this coin so desirable, we must focus on doubled dies, off-center strikes, broad strikes, die cracks, die clashes, planchet flaws, and transitional errors, each of which has been recorded in 2000 D cents and each contributing to a perception of rarity that fuels high auction prices. And it is said that a few 2000 D pennies left the mint with dramatic doubling on the obverse, where Lincoln's profile and inscriptions such as Liberty or the date show shadow-like impressions, the result of hub misalignment or overstamping during the die creation process. And while doubling on a coin might seem like a minor imperfection, in the collector's market it is treated as a rare genetic mutation, a signal that the coin is different from millions of others. And when combined with pristine condition and red luster, this doubling can turn a single cent into a specimen worth tens of thousands, even hundreds of thousands. And when rumors swirl that an extremely unique doubled die example with extraordinary clarity exists from the 2000 D series, speculation leaps and the narrative builds that such a coin could indeed fetch millions, which is why the legendary $3.1 million figure is associated with this cent. And moving beyond doubled dies, we also find off-center strikes, coins struck when the blank planchet was not properly seated in the press, leading to a design that is shifted, incomplete, or crescent-shaped, with some examples showing as much as 50% of the design missing, yet still retaining the date, which is critical for identification. And collectors are always in pursuit of dramatic off-center errors, especially when combined with high grades from certification companies. And a 2000 D penny with a huge off-center strike and brilliant mint state condition becomes a showcase piece that commands high prices, while broad strike errors, created when the retaining collar fails and allows the metal to expand outward during striking, create another visual oddity where the coin is larger and flatter than normal, an error highly prized for its dramatic appearance. And die cracks, the result of stress and repeated use of dies, leave raised lines or cuts across the coin, each unique like a fingerprint, with larger die breaks being especially collectible. And die clashes, when dies strike each other without a planchet in between, transfer ghostly impressions of the reverse design onto the obverse and vice versa, giving the coin a haunting look that captivates collectors. And we must also consider planchet flaws such as laminations, where the thin copper plating on zinc planchets peels away or bubbles due to impurities or pressure, creating unusual textures and appearances, which for 2000 D pennies can appear as flakes or cracks across Lincoln's portrait or the memorial reverse. And transitional errors, perhaps the most valuable, are those rare cases when a coin is struck on a planchet intended for another denomination, such as a cent struck on a dime or foreign planchet, creating dramatic weight differences and unusual metallic compositions. And these are the types of mistakes that can catapult a penny's value into the millions, because collectors recognize that such a combination of rarity, condition, and historical context is virtually irreplaceable. And in examining why the 2000 D cent in particular is tied to a multi-million-dollar value, we must remember that Denver was producing billions of coins during that year, meaning quality Control was stretched thin and the chances for unnoticed errors to escape the mint were higher than usual, and since these errors are rare by definition, when one does surface it instantly attracts attention, speculation, and bidding wars, and in the coin collecting world, perception often becomes reality. So when stories circulate that a certain 2000 penny realized $3.1 million at a private sale, whether confirmed or not, the idea takes hold that these coins are among the most valuable. Modern sense, and that fuels a market where even ordinary collectors dig through their change hoping to find one, and this frenzy drives more research, more grading submissions, and more reported varieties, creating a cycle where demand continues to climb, and even if only a handful of such rare coins exist, the potential payoff is enough to keep interest alive. And let us not forget the importance of condition, because a coin that is brilliant red, free of scratches, and graded MS 67 or higher is far rarer than one that's circulated in pockets and cash registers, and with the 2000 cents being primarily zinc, they are prone to corrosion, spots, and deterioration, so finding one in pristine form with a dramatic error is exceedingly rare, which again justifies why some examples are linked with extraordinary values. And for collectors, the thrill lies not only in the monetary worth but in the hunt itself, the chance that an overlooked coin in a jar could be the next multimillion-dollar treasure. And as we continue to explore the possibilities, we see how even small differences can impact value. For example, a minor doubling might increase a cent's worth to hundreds, a dramatic off-center to thousands, and a combination of multiple errors with high grade to potentially hundreds of thousands. But when you reach the realm of unique transitional or spectacular double dies, that is when the multimillion figure becomes believable, and this is why the 2000 1 cent has captured the imagination of collectors worldwide, representing both the fragility of minting processes and the boundless curiosity of humans to assign value to rarity. And as we share this journey with you, remember that while not every penny in your pocket will be worth millions, every coin has a story, and sometimes that story is enough to make even the smallest piece of change priceless in memory. And so as you hold a penny from the year 2000 with a Denver mint mark, look closely at its edges, its strike, its details, and its surfaces, because you may just discover a hidden treasure that others overlooked, a reminder that history, value, and mystery can live in the palm of your hand. And that concludes our deep dive into the world of the 2000 Lincoln cent, its incredible $3.1 million valuation, and the errors and mistakes that make it legendary. So if you enjoyed this exploration and want more fascinating stories about rare coins, treasures, and the secrets hidden in everyday objects, make sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and stay tuned for more incredible discoveries waiting to be uncovered.